$14,000 in prop firm payouts last week, or the week just passed. We've been trading things like GBPUSD, GBP Japanese yen. We've been trading US30, US 100 and gold. We've been following the dollar index and we've been waiting for this dollar breakout. The breakout's finally upon us and we are going to demonstrate exactly what we're looking at going forward this week. As always, if you could please leave a thumbs up, like, subscribe, drop a comment down in the comment section below if there's anything you'd like us to look at, and we will see you on the second part of this video. So another watch list video, $14,000 profit made and 3 prop payouts and 1 brokerage payout. Now, what we're going to be demonstrating and looking at the moment is exactly the same trading pairs that we were trading last week. We're going to carry that forward next week. You have to think about it logically, like why would you change your watch list? I'm not saying, certain people are. I'm just saying if you are following certain pairs, you're understanding the market correlation, the way generally pairs move and their kind of general consensus, their nature, then you want to really kind of focus and lock in on these. And the way we set our watch list up is through pair confluence, right? So one pair might go up, another pair might be coming down, and vice versa, depending on risk on, risk off. There's going to be different things that influence your trading decisions. And if we can correlate and stack as much as possible together, as well as price action and general entry confluences, we're going to have a good solid shot at, making money, but making money consistently. So, our watch list is always going to be the same. In a nutshell, we had a comment before saying, can we add this, can we add this? And absolutely, we will provide extra details in our, Telegram group, for additional trades that people want to see. But generally, for the purpose of our trades and the trades that we push out to our groups, we're going to be looking at what we have listed here. So the dollar index. The dollar index, we obviously had Bank of England, we had Fed, FOMC last week as well, or the week just passed, and it's helped cause a bit of a breakout. We're looking for a range break. Now from Thursday 6th of March, all the way through to current date, we've just kind of moved from left to right? And there's not really much trading opportunity, especially when you're looking at the big daily timeframes here. We want to see trends, we want to see markets breaking out, trading higher, trading lower, and therefore we can obviously use that in confluence with things like US30, things like US 100. We can also look at things like GBPUSD, Euro USD, and make it make sense, okay? So now we're breaking out and the dollar index is gaining. What are we going to expect? We're going to expect the pairs like GBPUSD, we're going to expect pairs like Euro USD to start selling off, to start kind of coming down in action because the dollar is gaining against its peers, and that's what we can, use as what we just mentioned, pair confluence and pair comparison, right? So US30 is on obviously the cards now. We've been following this, and since we hit that 45k price, we've really started to sell off, which makes sense because it was like an ascending market, US stock market. Gold was all climbing, but the risk sentiment didn't really justify that. It wasn't really making sense. So now seeing this sell-off is making sense. Gold, of course, with the geopolitical tensions, we're kind of trading higher. We'll dig into that in a short second. But US30, US 100, really good opportunities last week, and there's going to be great opportunities again this week. We're looking for hopefully entries around 42,750, and that would make sense because that's kind of the region of the previous area of SR, and we're going to be looking to trade obviously new fresh lows. So be aware that's what we're looking for. With regards to stops, obviously that will be adjusted as and when we approach that zone. This was our last trade signal of the day on Friday, and that was a really good one. We closed out about 130, and then we obviously continued much higher. So again, we were very happy with that. GBP Japanese yen was another one. So getting quite close to our stop loss. We had our supply, we had our resistance, we had our 193 whole number, 6-hour measure, monthly key level, great. We're going to look to do exactly the same thing again this week. So all we're going to do is move that across to around 193, 150, 160-ish. And we're going to try and trade that back down to, 190. So again, a huge range here. Don't fix it unless it's broken, right? So again, if we look at UJ, if we look at EJ, fairly similar structures. You can start to see the exhaustion. You can start to see the exhaustion here, as well as general price. We're not climbing higher now. For example, if we just draw this on, you'll be able to see we've kind of broken somewhat of a trend, and now we're hopefully looking to sell off, and that's what we're looking for again here on GJ. But we're using the horizontal zones, so zone, less subjective. We're using clear defined price. So psychological whole numbers, we're using supply demand on the higher time frames to allow us to, eliminate a lot of that lower based or that lower time frame noise. Okay, so again, it's really, really important that you work from these higher time frames and you get used to working from the same time frames. There's no point in 1 minute looking at the daily and then another minute looking at the 5 minute. You want to be looking from the higher time frames generally as a trader, so swing trading or maybe position trading, or if that's not your nature, you're looking at a lower time frame, but you're having the consistency in that approach, because markets will move in different ways and there will be manipulation in different ways. So, price action closes, 5 minute, last 10 seconds of that 5 minute candle can completely change the dynamic of the candle. And we say this week in, week out. On the higher daily 8 hour, 4 hours, there's a lot less chance for manipulation to kind of mislead you into making a trade-based decision. So stock indices, we're just going to wait and see what unfolds. Again, we've got 20k. 20k would be our preferred sell zone here. That being said, we're falling just short here. So again, what we'll probably do is set an alert for 20k, and then what we'll do is review that as and when we hit that zone. Gold was really, really good, and we anticipated this breakout last week, and we've actually seen it, and we've seen the retest. So depending on how markets open, this could certainly be an opportunity for us to consider. So just a very quick run through of what we were looking at and what we were anticipating and where we are currently. So for example, this is US 100. We were looking for a buy from that zone. Here is the range breakout. We're looking for that range breakout, which you've just now seen. And again, here's gold, which we're currently looking at. So we're waiting for that breakout, we're waiting for the pullback, and then we're looking to trade between the zones. Now, we've also seen GJ, which was our signal, and then we also obviously signaled all these bits and pieces further down, which you can see here, which everyone made some happy to, or made some entry to made some profit to make them happy to close the week. Now, again, looking at this, we're around 3025, which was our previous buy zone. So support turned to resistance. We're now looking to sell off. And that would be a great start to the week if we can see something or somewhat of a sell-off, pulling back. Markets have been trading incredibly bullish for a long, long time on gold, which, makes sense given the stance that we're kind of experiencing with, US trade tariffs, with geopolitical tensions such as Russia, Ukraine, and all sorts, Israel, everything that's going on is causing what you call a risk-off market, which means people put their money into things like safe havens, typically the dollar, typically the yen, typically things like gold, and they remove their money out of, higher returned assets and instruments such as US stock indices, US 100, US 30, things like S&P 500, they normally pull back. And this is what I was saying when, things are just taking off. It doesn't really make too much sense. There's kind of, cross-market, correlational manipulation. It's not correlating as you would normally expect. And I was having a conversation with someone about this Saturday. So, it does kind of mislead you, but markets aren't always going to play, they're not always going to play ball. They're not always going to tell you and allow you to trade what you expect to trade. We have to react, not forecast. So, you make your anticipations of what you're looking at and how you're looking to trade. And then from that, you basically react once it started to unfold. If it doesn't unfold, then you don't do anything. You just sit cash and you just wait for the next opportunity. So we've gone through gold, we've gone through GJ. These are certainly things that we are looking to trade this week. GBPUSD was great. Unfortunately, actually, we were holding very, very close to 1R from the first signal. We were just shy, then we got in very close to 1R. We thought, we'll hold it through Fed, FOMC. We got stopped at entry price, and then eventually we trended. We said, look, this is going to be the break, and then we retested. This has been the next entry, sold off, pullback, sold off, pullback. And again, we're just expecting continuations here with GBPUSD on the basis of dollar gaining and continuations of what we're currently seeing. So, nothing new there. Euro USD, again, very much the same. We're singing off the same hymn sheet here with Euro USD. GBP USD, again, moving in very similar succession. Bitcoin, so again, as long as we're trading south of 85k, this current price, we pushed, think about, just under 1R or something like that. There's opportunity for this to sell off. And as long as we're kind of trading south of this region, again, very generally, very roughly, Bitcoin's much more volatile than the comparative pairs like Ethereum and bits and pieces. Can't find my tools now. Generally, as long as we're below here, we could expect something to, sell off a bit. So 85k is the kind of limit, but I do certainly want to see us around the 72k price in the near future. That would really be good for us, and that would kind of hold and tie in with this previous area of SR. So that, again, makes logical sense to us. And again, similarly, would like Ethereum to trade south of $2,000 an ounce. Again, we're working from a very high time frame at the moment, but $2,000 an ounce would be really, really good. And we were looking at this range before here where this black line was, and if I go to the lower time frame, you can see the range there as well. So here we broke out and we retest, and then we can see the SR, very simple SR is so good for cryptos, especially Ethereum, Litecoin, and the like. And also gold as well as a commodity. FX indices are a little bit harder, but again, indices have their good days and their bad days naturally. For example, here, not so clear once we break, a little bit choppy here, and as of recent trade, we're a bit kind of here, there, and everywhere. So that's a bit of a rundown of what we are looking at this week. So again, lots of USD pairs, stock indices as always, and there's some really, really good opportunity for us to catch what swing trades and intraday trades. So really looking forward to this week. Hope this video, gives you some kind of insight of what we're looking at, and hopefully you can use it in confluence with the way you guys trade. Again, really, really rush video. We always try and capture this, as quickly as possible so that you guys can get prepped on our analysis, within 10-15 minutes. So hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure to hit that subscribe button, and we will see you on the next one.